It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the EdTech Mondays Nigeria show. I am your host, Chinyelu Akpa, and it's good to be here with you again. The month of April was an interesting one. We had insightful conversations on effective partnership structures for effective EdTech design, where we spoke to our guests who shared their wealth of knowledge in designing various strategies to draw out partnership structures, designing principles to ensure that we have solutions that check the boxes across board. This week, we'll be going back on the conversation, sharing some highlights from all the amazing conversations had this month, and also hearing from you, the listeners. We kicked off the month speaking to Victoria Abiola, an educator, a teacher, who shared her wealth of knowledge on the importance of getting teachers, educators into the room when designing. Ever so often, EdTech builders and designers believe they have all the solutions and exclude teachers in the design process. And she told us why it was important to ensure we have teachers designing, telling you how to design from the point of view of people who use solutions in the classroom, what to do, what not to do, how best to put in your solutions, how to design your teaching guides to ensure that you are meeting the learning outcomes. Let's listen to Victoria.
Technology is a very powerful tool. However, we should understand that its partnership between EdTech providers and educators is what truly transforms the education that we want, or the education space. Teachers are experts in the classroom, and they are the ones who have identified, or who can identify, the learning gaps in the classroom. And also, especially for teachers in underserved communities, they know what the children's needs are. They are the ones who can give feedback to EdTech providers, say, this is a feature that we need on this application or on this solution that you have provided. And of course, they are the ones who would eventually implement it. If teachers are not involved in the process of the solution, we just realize that it's either children are not using it or it's not used effectively. And for every EdTech solution, we want it to be used effectively and efficiently. So we need the teacher to be involved in the process.
Also on the show this month, we spoke to Bisayo Adewale. Bisayo is an instructional designer who differentiated between educators and instructional designers, and why instructional designers are very important in the overall design process for EdTech solutions. Bisayo gave us a quick masterclass on how instructional designers work, breaking down the complex content or even just the thoughts and the ideas of the EdTech designers and developers, breaking them into scripts that can be used to design the different phases and scenes that you interact with when using the solutions. Let's hear from Bisayo.
I like to paint the scenario of a kitchen that has all the ingredients, you know, the aesthetics and everything, and there is no chef, right? And everything is there, every other thing is there, but there is no chef to put it together into something, to produce something meaningful, something memorable. Yeah. So, and something easy to transfer, you know, to the real world. Nobody's going to come into the kitchen and start eating the ingredients. That's how important it is for an instructional designer to be part of the EdTech design process, even before you even get to the design process. So just like a chef is the one putting all those ingredients together in the kitchen to prepare that delicious meal, an instructional designer is the one that puts the content, the developers, the product design, everything, puts everything together to make sure that it is something that can be delivered to the learner, right? Even when there's no other person there, when it is just the learner. That's how important our roles are.
I remember asking Bisayo a very important question. How do we then begin to support and nurture and build a community or network of instructional designers? I asked to know what people need to learn, what people need to know to become instructional designers, and how we can start early to build people, either as pre-service teachers who are already on the track in education to become instructional designers that can then support people building EdTech solutions. Let's hear what Bisayo had to say.
So the first thing is that I would advise is co-create. Don't just do everything in your office. Go to the schools, get them involved. From the beginning, let them know this is what we are doing, this is the potential that it has. Get them involved. Talk to the school leaders. Talk to teachers, not just classroom teachers now. Because from my experience with instructional designing, I've realized that a lot of EdTech experts, they just think that teachers, when you say teachers, you think it's just classroom teaching or subject teachers. There are teacher leaders. There are teachers that are HODs. There are teachers that are in the IT department of schools. So by the time you start putting teachers in those categories and you start working with them from the beginning, from time to time, in fact, sometimes you can go there to just give a free talk, you know, involve the school in your practices, not necessarily dishing out all your ideas, you know, just to save your idea, but involve them so that when it's time for them to integrate the solution, they feel like they are part of it. It doesn't look like you are trying to, you know, choke them with your solution. They already understand. They've already been engaged right from the beginning. So that's my number one and like my best advice to EdTech owners. Involve them. Go to schools. Don't wait until your solution is ready before you start having that conversation with the people that you want to sell the solution to. And don't just use them as research tools. Don't just go to them when you need data and then you are off. All of a sudden, your solution is ready and then you are back again. So let them be part of everything, you know, strategically.
Also on the show with us this month was Titi Adewusi, the co-founder of Naija Kids, an EdTech solution provider in Nigeria. And she shared insights on the ever so forgotten bits of effective EdTech product design, designing with learners. Titi shared and gave us examples of how they would build solutions, thinking they had conquered all the challenges, knew the different bits of the solutions, and would then go into schools to test with learners, then discover they had various bits they had overlooked or bits they didn't even know could work the way they were eventually working in the schools. Let's take a listen.
When you look at student-centered learning, they say, what do the children want to learn? And because it's what they want to learn, you see them learning it faster. And that, for me, is one of the key partnerships that is missing. So when we adults finish sitting in the room, we actually need to get very children to come together and say, what do you think about this thing? What can you be doing? And you'll be amazed. I don't even know where they get it. And they come with different perspectives that, I guess, as adults, we're already groomed in one way. So maybe we end up all thinking alike in the end. But they now have different experiences, so they bring different. And it's not just people that are in private schools, the public school children. There was a time we went to play a game in a public school. And then the child came and said, Auntie, what do I do now? I've never been to that area in the game before. I'm like, how did you get here? I had to come on to my colleagues, please, what do we do from here? We had never seen that.
It's like game developer. What's the next level?
What's the next level? How did he get here? And these were children, just to put it in perspective, these are children, they don't have devices at home. They don't have, this was really their first, experience with that.
I'm sure from this, you can agree with me that you cannot have effective EdTech solutions without designing with the users. And finally, we had Utibe Henshaw on the show with us. And Utibe spoke about how important it was to have various stakeholders who would come together often to discuss policies, to discuss ways of bringing together energy, synergizing on both solutions, synergizing on their products, and not just building in bits and in silos, building super products which have the opportunity or can have the potential to reach a wider range of users and are solving more learning problems. Take a listen to that.
One of my pet peeves with EdTech generally is sometimes these solutions are tech-led as opposed to education-led. Which is what led us to organize EdMeets, the EdMeets Tech event, and also even subsequent iterations, of the NEDIS summits. I think that we do need to, earlier I spoke about identifying
identifying, who is doing what, and then connecting them to each other. So we need to continue more of that. TEP Center, we've had the privilege of implementing something that's innovative in the sense that it hadn't been done before in Nigeria, which is the citizen-led assessment of foundational literacy and numeracy. It's called Learn Nigeria. And the citizen-led assessment started in India, has spread over time to the global south region. And a lot of the countries at the time were doing it in such a way that they collected this data as a way to hold government accountable, advocates, almost anti-government, which worked in their context, but we knew wouldn't work in Nigeria. We had to take a significantly different approach. And so we had to take a participatory approach to not only just designing the assessment itself and the survey tools, but also implementing it. So we work with everyone from the Federal Ministry to the National Bureau of Statistics, state ministries, schools, teachers, so that at the end of the day, the data that this assessment produced is collectively owned. And I think that when it comes to EdTech, there's definitely that sense in which even as you are scoping the challenges that you want to build solutions for, you're not doing it alone. There's an activity we do in our training. It's called Making the Horse Happy. And it's a way of illustrating how, you have a sad horse and you want to make the horse happy, but how do you know what is making the horse sad? You could try a variety of things. So it's about being as participatory and inclusive as possible, all the way from scoping the problem, designing a solution to execution. I think, it's safe to say in Nigeria, the scope of the challenges are such that there is room for everybody, not only to experiment and test your ideas, but there's room to scale, right? Nigeria has significant challenges, not only with access to education, but with the quality of education being delivered. In recent years, we have spent time just on foundational literacy and numeracy, and the results are not good. The World Bank is quoting 7 out of 10 children in sub-Saharan Africa.
And we say no.
Yeah, our own data tells us that, the Nigerian policy, basic education is 9 years, compulsory years of schooling, but as of 2017, 53% of children who have had 9 years of schooling are still unable to read at grade 2 level. So this is the scope of the challenges. We clearly need technology solutions. We can't go to one school, one teacher per time, or one house per time. So the technology would definitely be a part of overhauling the system, of delivering specific successfully tested solutions, to multiple contexts. But I think that the approach needs to be participatory, everybody included from design all the way to execution, evaluation and reflection, and then back again.
And finally, we got feedback, hearing from you, our listeners, sharing your thoughts, your comments, and your feedback on sustainable partnership structures for effective product design.
Okay, so we cannot underestimate the importance of teachers' involvement in EdTech solutions. Teachers' involvement in EdTech solutions will help those EdTech starters to be able to know what exactly is the need of the students and to be able to tailor their EdTech solutions to meet the needs of the students.
All right, so partnership plays a very crucial role, especially right from the beginning of developing any EdTech solutions, right? So the first thing is that it helps to have a very great context, starting from understanding what the problem is. So the other part of it is when the solution is built, scaling the solution, which is also one of the very hardest thing to do when it comes to EdTech solutions. Scaling is very important, but it is hard, right? But when the right partnerships come, that helps to make it easier.
Partnership will enable you to get investors. And you also need partners because you're also creating solutions. You have to meet the schools. The schools need to come inside so that they can tell you their problems, their challenges. Then you can now design it on the platform and now integrate it. So partnership is a no-brainer. Partnership is very, very important.
Thank you to you, our amazing listeners, for always joining the conversation. We'd love to hear from you to understand how we can build more sustainable partnerships for effective EdTech product design. Send us an SMS or a WhatsApp message on 0703 165 0809. You could also join our Telegram and our WhatsApp channel, and who knows, you could be on the show with me next week. To do that, join the WhatsApp and Telegram channel at EdTech Mondays Nigeria. And in case you missed all the amazing conversations we had this month, don't worry, we have you. You can watch us on YouTube at CC Hub Nigeria, or listen to us via Spotify at EdTech Mondays Nigeria. Don't forget to share your thoughts and your feedback with us. We'd love to hear from you. So we come your way, same time next week. I remain your host, Chinyelu Akpa, and it's bye for now.
EdTech Monday is proudly brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.